there very well may be pinball in Alaska, and if there is, I didn't see any of it. I saw a lot of other stuff, but I did not see any pinball. There was no time for that. But now my focus returns to the Silver Ball, the greatest game on the planet. Right? Overdramatic. I know. But it's Coast to Coast Pinball, episode number 180. Let's go. Welcome to Coast to Coast Pinball. My name is Nate Shivers. This is a podcast. It's a commentary. I'm a man out of quarters. Welcome back, everybody. Or welcome back, me, as it is. I have returned. I have seen my 48th state. I have 2 states yet to step foot in. Those are the Dakotas. I have been to Alaska now, state number 48. And it's beautiful. It's big. The glaciers are amazing. The water is so blue and clear, and Teresa was so much fun. It was a great time. A fantastic time. It was a late honeymoon, we called it, because it was about a year after we got married. It was the first trip we've taken without our dog in almost 3 years. It was a lot of fun. I didn't find any pinball. I did ask on our final day when we were in Anchorage, and somebody told me that there was possibly a pinball machine at Chuck E. Cheese. I was, at this point, sick of being around so many people. Being on a cruise ship, there's a lot of people, and did not want to go to a Chuck E. Cheese on my last day in Alaska. Instead, we went and found a moose. I found a moose to watch eat for about 20 minutes. It was great. I also, through the magic of my cellular telephone, while we were in Skagway? No, it was Juneau, Alaska, the capital city. There was apparently at one point pinball at a pizza place in Juneau. It was too far for me to walk, so I did not go. But apparently there is some pinball in Alaska. I just couldn't find it. So there, it is what it is. I'm back. I've been playing America's Most Haunted and Metallica tonight, and my pinball skills are just evaporated. Whatever I did have, so great going into Pinburg. I have lots of great emails. We're going to get to 0 of them tonight. Tonight's going to be a fun show. We're going to run down some fast thoughts. We're going to talk about some forum static, and then we're going to be joined by special guest returning to the show from funwithbonus.com, from the top 10 of the IFPA rankings, Mr. Steve Bowden. That's happening tonight. We're going to preview Pinburg a little bit and just see what's going on in Steve's world. And away we go. 5 fast thoughts. All right, so we're coming to you not live from San Diego, California. I'm headed out east tomorrow. Got to do a little work, then got to go do a little more work in Pittsburgh, if you know what I'm saying. But first, 5 fast thoughts. Fast thought number 1 is Pinburg. Yes, they're moving the games. It's insane. I can't believe they're doing this. All of those involved with Replay FX, you are better and more great than I could ever dream of being. Wow, amazing. Can't wait to see you and all your hard work come true. So Pinburg, yes. Fast thought number 2. I was looking around Pinside today because I've been away, and stuff's just happening, and I'm not able to read it and take it in, and that kind of is a weird thing, to be disconnected from my devices, and I'm horrible. I am I get panicky. Day 1, where I was out on the ocean, or on a boat on a cruise ship, and didn't have internet, was I was constantly just grabbing for my phone, and it would do nothing. And so I got back to Pinside today, and I was just browsing around, looking through the internets, reading the Tilt forums, reading the Pinside forums, but I actually clicked on something I miss sometimes. On the front page of Pinside, there was a story, and it was about a trip to Houston, Texas, and a couple different locations. And that got me digging deeper into the community tab of Pinside, and finding that there were all these cool stories that I just never really think to read. So I started reading some of them. There's some cool stuff there. So go to Pinside, click on the community tab, and read some stories. Stories, people. It's good. The written media is great. I like it. My internet, as I say this, is dying. It's like I'm on Dead Flip or something. Just kidding. Fast thought number 3. Dead Flip raised $1,600 Was that last night? My days are all screwy. Saturday night, I believe. Or Friday night. They don't do a Saturday night show. So Friday night, Dead Flip did a charity stream, and they were featured by Twitch that night, I believe. And they raised charity for Pinball Outreach. Nicole and Greg, shout out. And $1,600 was donated. So hats off to Dead Flip, hats off to Pinball Outreach Project, and hats off to the people who donated the money, right? Is that the nice thing I was supposed to say? I'm trying not to be overly dramatic, but I want to be overly dramatic. So donate to kids, literally. Fast thought number... Where am I at? Number 4. The most recent pinball podcast. I got to catch up with a lot of podcast listening, some pinball, some not, on this trip. And I really enjoyed Don and Jeff's top 5 this past episode, because it was a top 5 of, not fast thoughts, but it was a top 5 of games that never went into production. And Don and Jeff are pretty... It's probably the thing that I find most entertaining about their show is when they talk about like history and go through. I like hearing their comparisons to each other when they do their top 5 lists, I guess is what I'm trying to say, and saying it slowly here in 5 Fast Thoughts. But I really liked this one. Had really good detail about some games, some stuff that I certainly didn't know, and was cool. And both of them have played quite a few of these, prototype games that never made it, and I thought it was really neat. So if you don't listen to the Pinball Podcast, it's the Pinball Podcast, and you should listen to the Pinball Podcast. Friendly listener, you should listen to that one. Give their last episode a try. I actually really like their format the last few months. They go a little bit shorter than they were before, and it just seems to... I get through the episodes a little quicker, digest it, and then there's another one sooner. So, I don't know. That's just my opinion. That's my commentary on their commentary. I'm all hyper tonight. What can you say? Also, fast thought number 5. The unofficial Pinball World Championships. Now, I'm probably being dumb because I actually don't know who does this list, but I have a feeling it's somebody I should know. Oh, it's Phil Grimaldi. Phil Grimaldi does this list. I think Phil listens to this show because that name seems awfully familiar. So anyway, Phil has started a website called the Unofficial Pinball World Championships.com. And if you go there, you'll see that it's kind of a fun, sort of tongue-in-cheek-ish type website. And he actually says the UPWC is a completely unserious, unimportant, and uninteresting pinball championship series. The title is transferred from player to player as they compete in IFPA tournaments. So basically, the unofficial Pinball World Championship is whoever won the most recent IFPA tournament. I believe it, and I believe it's I don't know if that's major tournament or weekly, anytime, I don't know. Anyway, if you're wondering, on this list, the current UPWC, that sounds like old school pro wrestling, like the what would that be if this was pro wrestling? It would be the Universal Pro Wrestling Championship, Universal Philadelphia Westchester Wrestling. That doesn't make any sense. Anyway, you know what I'm saying. UPWC sounds like an old pro wrestling organization. Anyway, the current champion, and this is just not official, but it's fun, if nothing else, is Jim Belcito from right here in beautiful Southern California. So, anyway, check that out. That's kind of fun. That's some fast thoughts for this very beautiful Monday, July 27th, 2015.
Forum static.
All right, so I had little bursts of internet activity during my week-long cruise. When we would get to some of the ports of call, they had cell service, and luckily, unlike Teresa, I have AT&T, which works in Alaska. So I was able to look at my phone and check out, emails and work and stuff, but also look at Pinside. And a few days ago, towards the end of the trip, I saw a couple threads pop up on Pinside, but they had lots of replies, so I didn't dare try and click into them and read them. I was in Alaska, But I really, in my head, thought, those are going to make good fodder for my little podcast show that I run. And sure enough, they have. I've gotten to kind of read through them, and I want to discuss them. In fact, little did I know, one influenced the other, and I didn't know this till I read them. The first one, started by multiple-time guest of the show, Jared Gwines, is entitled, What Will It Take to Get Pinball Back in Dave & Buster's? All right, and the second thread is titled, written by Pinsider Arik Lawson, is Maybe It's Time to Build a Simpler Pin. So the Dave & Buster's question comes up from time to time because we have this national chain of arcades that it's like restaurant, bar, arcade games, and they don't have pinball. They used to have pinball. They got out of pinball. There's no pinball. So you and me, pinball fans, go there thinking maybe there'll be some pinball. And then there's no pinball. And people get on the internet and go, why is there no pinball? Dave & Buster's will tell you it's because pinball doesn't make enough money to warrant having it take up square footage, the investment, the maintenance, etc., etc., etc. This story has been told, and Jared's post is sort of throwing this out there like, okay, in the abstract, what would have to happen for Dave & Buster's to get back into pinball? And I mean, I think the same thing. Like, hey, wouldn't it be great if these big arcades had pinball? But the cold reality of it, in my mind, for me, is I don't want to go to Dave & Buster's. I don't like Dave & Buster's. Could I have fun at a Dave & Buster's if Teresa and I were out there just playing some crazy, games? Sure, absolutely. But in general, not really my scene. Not for me. Maybe I'm too old. It used to be. I used to kind of like Dave & Buster's, but it's not for me anymore. Now, as I hear they're getting some more high-tech stuff in there, that makes me want to go more. Like, I do kind of want to go check one out. Because in all reality, it's been 5 or 6 years since I've been in Dave & Buster's. But I do get that from a business point of view, pinball probably looks like a terrible investment. You mean we got to clean this thing? You mean we got to change the rubber rings in this thing? You mean the lights can go? I mean, there's just a lot of things in a pinball machine that always require maintenance. And it just looks like Teresa just walked in and she's just smiling at me. Interrupting episode 180.
You look so cute sitting in your chair.
I am so cute sitting in my chair. Teresa, you can't do this right now. Okay. You can sit here and listen. All right. Okay. Okay. You can always do that. All right. So, what I was saying before I was so beautifully interrupted is that pinball's a tough investment. It just really is. And especially if you're Dave & Buster's, you're looking for low-maintenance, high-earning machines. And I don't know that pinball's that. I think... No, I'll just say that. I don't think pinball's that. So when you ask the question, what will it take? I don't know. I don't know if Dave & Buster's and pinball go together anymore. I'm not sure. The world has changed. Keep that in mind. That is kind of my theme of what I want to talk about here a little bit in regards to some other topics that this all led to in these conversations. So what came up to a lot of people was people aren't drawn to pinball like they used to be. And Dave & Buster's has proved out that they don't make enough money. And so that question becomes then, well, how do we draw people to pinball? And one of the most obvious things, and you hear this from all sorts of people, including Gary Stern, is you have to make pinball accessible to the layperson, the not Nate Shivers, the not Bowen Karens, the not Steve Bowdens. You have to make pinball accessible to just person out looking to enjoy their time out in the world. Hey, look, I'll put my money in that machine and have fun and like it and want to do it again and again and again. So how do you do that when you have games like AC/DC, where it's like, how do you play this? Well, we could talk for the next hour and not even get all the way through how you play AC/DC, right? So it begs the question, do we need a simpler pinball machine? And I think Arik's post is actually really, really good. It's a great sort of open to a big, long, interesting conversation about pinball in general and what it is and how it got here. And I like it. I'll just read a few little lines out of Arik's post if you aren't following along on Pinside. He says, maybe it's time to build a simpler pin, one more old school. Now, I think that line threw people on a tangent. And we'll get into that in a second. He says, that's a lot cheaper. Also, I'm not sure if that's the best part of this post. And he says, and I mean more 1980 Bally than I do Stern's, quote, the pin. So he's saying a game more like an old Bally game than something like Stern's attempt at a inexpensive home game like the Pin. Maybe it's time to make a level of new pinball that's affordable. Maybe it's time to make a pin that can actually bring in different location players. I don't think people in the hobby realize how intimidating a modern pin is to a new person. He says when your standard game is $8,500, and that's obviously talking about a Jersey Jack pin, and it just keeps going up, I'm priced out, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So he gives some ideas, such as everything should have a direct line of sight, don't put a ton of ramps on it, multi-levels, etc. He talks about maybe bring back 5 balls so that you make the game hard but give someone lots of attempts at it. I think 5 balls is cheating, but I'm also talking about the games we currently have, in jest, obviously. All right, drop 4 players down to 2. I don't really see the point there. I mean, I know what he's going for, kind of going for the arcade thing, like 1 player, 2 player. And then this is where you have an original theme. I also don't know if I agree with that. I think that license themes draw people in, but I know why he's saying that. I get it, but I don't know if I agree with that. No license, no extra costs. He's going for the less expensive thing. So, really good idea, really good argument, and a very interesting conversation starter. So, I started reading some of the things, the posts in here, and obviously price becomes a major part of this conversation when the conversation is among us, you and me, and the folks who are on a pinball website, because we are thinking as home enthusiasts and collectors, as Mr. Gary Stern might say. We are not thinking as casual guy who's just out on the town waiting for his buddy at the bar and says, I'll go play the pinball machine over there. We're thinking of, I want to buy more games. I have a little bit of space I could wedge another game into if it was only cheaper. I would love to be in the thread about the new games, being excited to rip open the box. I get it. But the world has changed, and it's changed all around pinball in a lot of ways, and it's really an interesting look, because if you go way back, not all the way back, but just way back, there was a lot of pinball machines around the world. A lot of them were out in public places where a lot of people spent a lot of time. We didn't have the internet. We didn't have home gaming. We didn't have giant TV screens. People went out for their entertainment much more, percentage-wise, than they do today. There were also fewer options when you did go out. So you might say to me, no, Nate, way more people go out now than they did back then. And I would say you're correct. However, they go to more places. So you have to really be a draw to get people into wherever you are. Pinball fit into lots of various places. Bars, obviously. Arcades, obviously. So arcades were a thing for a long time, especially in certain regions of this country. Arcades, however, kind of went away, right? So the world changed, and pinball almost died. Because as arcades went away, pinball companies had a tough time surviving. And I know if you're listening to the show, you know the stories, and I don't want to go through it all again. But I'm just trying to keep your focus on why things changed and what happened. Because Stern, as they were dragging the pinball manufacturing business behind them, they went and tried to do simpler games. They tried to strip things down a little bit, make them cheaper. And I don't know that that actually helped a lot. Williams was building some of their best games as pinball was dying. So I propose that the actual argument here may have nothing to do with the price of the games and nothing to do with how good or deep or complex the game is. It has to do with a lot of other factors more so. The world changing in the way we got our entertainment. Now, you say to me, why the spike in interest now, here in the 2010s? Why has pinball come back on the scene? I think part of it's the demographics. The people that did love pinball and grew up in the 60s, 70s, 80s, into the 90s that saw a lot of pinball, they have disposable income now, and they're trying to reach back and do things they couldn't do back then, like buy pinball machines. People didn't buy pinball machines for their homes in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. They were expensive games. So I know there's going to be a lot of tangents here, but what I'm trying to say is, when you look at all of this and you say, oh, if you could only make a game simpler, more people would play it. I don't know that that's actually totally true. I think a game needs to be rewarding, and I don't know if it just has to be simpler to be rewarding. It has to be fun. So maybe if you make it more simple, someone who doesn't play a lot of pinball can have more fun playing it. I get that argument. I also liked the argument that people brought up that, hey, I see the games that some of my kids play, and they're way more complex than, most pinball machines, or at least on that sort of level. So kids and people can definitely grasp complex. I think there's arguments to be made both ways there. I think a simple game that looked awesome, and here's where Arik, I think, was trying to go with his idea. If you took a game and gave it very, very obvious rules and had a very obvious strategy laid out, doesn't need to be an easy strategy, but a very obvious strategy, and it looked awesome and modern and had lights and sounds and I think a modern theme, I think people would probably get into that if it was fun. It's got to be fun. And I look at some of the redemption games and some of the prize games I see out there. On the cruise ship, there was a game that sort of is like that stacker game that you see out in redemption arcade areas where you're trying to win like iPods and other stuff that they have in there by stacking the little colored blocks on top of each other. Now, that's been around a long time now, but when those came out, they were kind of addicting because you're just hitting literally one button to like stack the little colored blocks, and if you got them all stacked to the top, which I believe was actually freaking impossible to do, you won an iPad or something. Well, they had one of those on the cruise ships, but you could win cash, like wads of cash, which I thought was kind of neat. And I saw people playing it over and over, and I could tell they just enjoyed that challenge. But it was a simple to understand challenge. So I think what Arik is going for is, don't make a retro-looking old game. Don't give me Mata Hari. That's not what I want. Give me something that looks like Metallica, but has the gameplay of Joker Poker, where, I need to hit these, then I hit these, then I hit these, and that opens up this. Because I think there is a pinball machine to be made that could be really, really easy to understand, and I don't think we have that right now. I think that there's been some games with simpler rule sets, and there were some games back in the 90s with simple rule sets and attempts. You think about like Break Shot gets brought up a lot, but I think there's another way to do it where it's, hey, do these things, and then you get to do this thing. And then once you did that thing, you're on this level, and you get to do these things. I can envision it, and I think that's what Arik was going for, too. It's hard to describe it. You'd almost have to show somebody. And maybe that gets more people into it. The problem is you still got to get people in front of it. And that sort of loops back to the Dave & Buster's thing. How do you get people in front of these games? Well, friend of the show, Josh Sharp, chimed in, and he has a lot of experience with CoinOp, obviously working for Raw Thrills, who makes most of the big cool video games that you see out there in the world. And they get great locations that are like movie theaters, that are amusement centers, that are getting people in front of these games. Pinball has some of that, and it needs probably more of that. But pinball's succeeding in other places, in barcades, in at pinball shows, in smaller type areas than the big giant centers. But how do you get people that are in the rec center that has a bowling alley and pool tables? How do you get the people in front of pinball? Well, I think that's the big question. And what scares me is the answer that the world just changed and pinball isn't that interesting to a lot of people. That worried me today. I thought about that today. I thought, wow, are we just at a time where maybe, we're seeing this resurgence with people who are already of a certain age? Are the kids going to get into it? I don't know. How do we get kids in front of pinball if there's no arcades in the malls, if there's no pinball in Dave & Buster's, if there's no... How do we do that? I think the answer for a lot of people recently, and a lot of people that email the show and listen to this show, has been on the digital platforms and all the different ways you can get virtual pinball tables on your iPad, on your PlayStation, on your Xbox. That gets people excited about pinball, and then when they do see them in the world, they can't wait to play them. Whereas people in the 60s and 70s and 80s and into the 90s, they just saw pinball everywhere, and a certain percentage of those people said, I want to try that. And a certain percentage of those people, like me, enjoyed playing Doctor Who at Peter Piper Pizza more than they enjoyed playing, I don't even know, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle game or the X-Men 4-player game, whatever. Some of us just liked the physical game with the steel ball better. And we got to find those people now if we want to grow it. A lot of people zero in on this cost of the games. And that drives me a little crazy because pinball machines, I'm going to say it, okay? This is going to make some people mad. You're not going to like it, but I'm going to say it. Pinball machines are not expensive. Now, I will also say pinball machines are really expensive, okay? Stay with me. They're really expensive because I would be insulting to most people in the world to tell you that a $5,000 to $10,000 box with lights is not expensive. Yes, that's a lot of money. It is a lot of money to get a pinball machine in your home. It is not expensive. It is not overly priced, I believe. And here's how I prove this out. Today, a Stern Pro game, the base model, and this is the game for the masses. This is, okay, Metallica's not my favorite band. I don't have to have the crazy high-end premium one, etc., etc. I just want this game. $5,500 retail, roughly. Rough numbers. Retail price. Are there better prices to be had? Apparently so. I won't get into all that right now, but apparently so. Retail price. So the most you should pay for a Metallica or Kiss Pro is somewhere in that $5,500 range. I think we can all agree on that. You're buying that from a distributor. That distributor bought that game from, in this case, Stern Pinball. So the distributor has to make money from you, right? Okay, so for the distributor to have a business to promote these games once they're released, and you might say, you don't need to promote them. Yeah, they do. They're selling them to operators. They're selling them to locations. They need to have money to run their business and eat. And we'll talk about the direct thing again, which we've gone over on the show before, but we'll do it again. But I contend distributors need to make money. So you're buying a game that's being marked up from what Stern is selling the game to the distributor. Those are the facts. Stern is selling the game to the distributor at some price. I can tell you without a doubt that the increase in that price, okay, so the price that Stern is selling the game to the distributor has gone up far less than almost every other American-made entertainment-style product has gone up in the time period from the year, let's just say 2000 to 2015. I can promise you that because I can guarantee you that price has not gone up more than 30-35%. The price that Stern Pinball charges distributor for a pinball machine has not gone up more than 25 or 35%. So I was looking through pricing at my work today as I was thinking about this. Taylor Guitars. We sell expensive toys, right? I mean, musical instruments are instruments to be made music with. They're a lifelong investment. They can inspire. Music heals, ... You got me. But at the end of the day, nobody needs a $5,000 guitar or a $3,000 guitar. You can get a $600 guitar and write the best song in the world. But we sell lots of guitars for $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $7,000. Nobody needs that. It's a toy. It's an entertainment piece. It's a luxury item. Our pricing at Taylor has more than doubled. I don't want to get too into specifics. I won't make anybody mad. But I can tell you that a guitar that sold to the dealer for $1,000 15 years ago now costs the dealer well above $2,000. Okay, so the pricing has gone up. I did some little informal polling of friends who work in other industries, who work with things like drum kits. And I'm talking American-made products because there's some other factors that go into this that we'll address in a second. ATVs, photography equipment, things like that. Prices have more than doubled, generally, in all of those cases. Pinball machines have not. Pinball almost died also. So pinball had this period of time where they didn't get that yearly bump. Guitars get a yearly bump overall. The average selling price of guitars, not just Taylor, but all USA-built guitars, goes up every year. It does. We have price increases. I think we've had 3 this year. Not on the whole line, but on certain products. Very common. Stern hasn't really had that much of a price increase when you look at it from the long view. Now, people feel like it's really expensive now, and people go out of their minds saying it's so much money. Because, remember, pinball wasn't being sold into the home. Pinball was being sold to people who are going to put them out in the world to make money off coin drops. So when people started really, really buying pinball machines for the home, what were they buying? They were buying used, routed machines, and they were cheap because pinball wasn't popular. The games were used. There was lots of them. So a lot of the people who've been in this hobby collecting games much longer than me, who will be, the guys on Pinside who love to lament the good old days when they could buy a Medieval Madness for $2,200 used or whatever, when you could buy EMs for $100 a piece, when you know what I'm saying. They lament that that's gone. Well, some things happened. You can't compare that to a new in-box Stern pinball machine that's still being built brand new in the United States. You just can't. It's a different world. If you go back and look at what it would have cost you to buy Medieval Madness, let's say, in the late 90s, the percentage increase for what it would have cost you to buy that game to what it would cost you to buy a Metallica Pro LED right now is just not that much. It does not keep up with inflation. It does not keep up with the guitar world. It does not keep up with the motorsports world. It just doesn't. But what's happened is people started buying new in box. The prices were up. The used games went up a little bit, which frustrated people. So as the excitement's built and pinball's gotten exciting, people start just thinking about this $5,500 number, and it's crazy. But honestly, it's not. It would have cost you, I don't know, to buy from a distributor. If you showed up at a distributor and wanted to buy games late 90s, please, operators who were buying games back then, email me. Tell me what you're buying. It's not that huge of a price increase for the amount of time and what's gone on. Now, we had a big recession in the middle of all that. Pinball took a huge dive in popularity. I would also contend to you that Stern's reach for design had some dips in the road in some of those games. There were some spots where I think there were lulls in the compelling factor of the game, which I think they've really corrected, and they're killing it right now. I don't know. I just think the price thing is sort of a misnomer to people, that pinball machines are somehow way too expensive. And I see people saying you can absolutely build a pinball machine for $3,000. I can tell you can't in the United States. I've talked to many people in this industry who want to do just that, and the numbers don't work. They just don't work. It's expensive to build a cabinet, have armor and have anything machined for you. It's just not cheap. Now, when you say we're going to build 2,000 of them, okay, maybe. But it's not a cheap thing to do. I think it's going to be really hard. Do I think Stern can build a game that sells to the consumer for $3,000? I don't think they can. I don't believe they can in the way things are currently being run. Do I think they can build a game that could sell to the consumer for $4,000? Maybe. I don't think they will, though. Because here's the other factor. There's the factor I don't think you can ignore. People are buying the games. People are still buying them. It's not like Stern built and moved into a big new factory because they're not selling a lot of pinball machines right now, right? When they get the right combination of theme and design and fun going, they're doing really well with their games right now. People ask about selling direct. Why doesn't Stern sell direct? Well, lots of reasons they don't want to sell direct. You don't deal with the customer service side of selling direct, I think would probably be your first thing. It's also really hard to get your games out in the world when you're based in just one town. In our industry, the guitar industry that I work in, very few companies sell direct. There's been some experimentations just recently with companies selling both direct and through distributors. It's not worked out very well. There's one pretty famous company called Carvin, based out of Los Angeles, that's always sold only direct, does not sell through stores. They're a very small company and a afterthought in our industry. You need people out there, pumping your products up and pitching them and selling them for you. When you get a game that's not maybe the biggest home run for your company, those distributors will be invaluable in helping get those games out by creatively getting them sold. So direct is probably not the answer. I'm not saying it's impossible. There's been some really big companies in consumer electronics go direct with a lot of success. So, looping that all the way back around to, do we need a simpler pin? I think it could be a great thing. I don't know if it's going to drag a bunch of people into pinball, because I think getting more people into pinball might be a much more complicated equation than simply giving a simpler, easy to understand, easier to follow, easier to play machine. I actually don't know that would do that. But a simpler pin could help, and a lower price point, I don't know if that helps much, because operators are going to buy the games if they can make money on them. And if the game is fun, it will make money, right? But getting pinball just in the mind of people, getting it into people's own personal ecosystem so that they want to find a game and play a game, or when they do see a game, they think, I should go play that. That might take some time, and it might take some things happening. It might take folks like Dead Flip out there tirelessly streaming on the internet. It might take, the Pinball Arcade in Zachariah. It might take these digital platforms to teach other people, younger people not around location pinball, about what's happening with pinball and make them play it in that format and then go run out and find it. It might take things like Metallica, Kirk Hammett signing games at Comic-Con and talking about pinball. Hey, pinball. Kiss being brought in to do another game, and the Kiss Army getting all excited about it. Rob Zombie building a game with an independent company like Spooky Pinball. All those things. Hey, hopefully this podcast has got some people excited. I've had many emails from people who said they had no idea what they were getting into, and they started listening to this thing, and now they love pinball. And it's the biggest flattery I could ever get. So all of those things, that culture of pinball, a great website like Pinside, awesome shows like Southern Fried, like the Texas Pinball Festival, like the Midwest Gaming Classic, like California Extreme, like Replay FX, all those things all put together, that'll help get people into pinball, hopefully. Raise awareness. It's such a cliched statement, but it's true. All right. That's what I got on that one. I think it's a great topic, and there's lots of good stuff in there, so go check it out for sure.
Call the people.
Welcoming back to Coast to Coast Pinball, Mr. Steve Bowden. How are you, sir?
Pretty good. Surprise, everybody.
Surprise, it's Steve. So I always like to start off when I have great players and friends on the show, giving out your IFP ranking. Currently ranked number 9th in the world, the number 9 pinball player in the world, Steve.
Well, I didn't even look at it. I didn't even think to look at that. I was looking at everything else.
Everything else.
I didn't check out my ranking at all. That's good. Maintaining. Just trying to maintain. That's good.
Top 10. That's great.
Although, top 10 gives me a little bit of imposter syndrome. Okay,
well,
a little bit, but I'll take it.
Currently ranked ahead of names like Bowen Cairns,
Exactly.
Kaylee George.
No, yeah. All right, I'll take it. I'll take
stuff. It's good stuff.
I'll take it because the system says what it is.
Exactly.
But, that's all I'll take. All right.
So Pinburg is this week.
Oh yeah, less than 48 hours away. Let's get excited. Let's get hype. Last second hype for Pinburg. Let's go.
Replay FX. They're moving that. I can't believe what they're doing with moving these games.
They're moving the games. You can see on Facebook as the games are being moved. You can see them slowly starting to populate that huge arena-like area. I mean, there's the tournament area which looks like a game show happened, and I don't know. This is going to be unbelievable.
I gotta say, I was a little. So I've done a lot of trade shows in places like that. No carpet.
Mm-hmm. Right. That's going to be a thing unless we're going to have, I guess, those little rubber feet for the games. so we're not sliding the games 87 feet in each direction.
I'm worried about my feet.
Well, yeah. After standing there for X amount of hours. So I guess one of the more important strategies of this tournament will be find a place to sit down and find it often. Like that's going to be part of it, because I know after like the 5th hour, I know my feet will be hurting, but I won't be paying attention to it.
That's going to be rough.
I'll be too in the zone. It's going to be rough though. But hey, whatever. It's what we got to do. Let's go.
You know, Josh Sharp and I were talking a little bit about visualization in pinball, and I'm definitely someone who likes to visualize a tournament before I get there, and any sporting type thing at all. Is it weird for you, having been to the Papa facility so many times, to be thinking, okay, I'm going to Pinburg, but I'm not going to the Papa facility?
I have no idea what's gonna. I mean, there's no idea what's gonna be there. So, which I guess is good. So I can just show up and be amazed. I mean, the only thing I have to compare it to is I recently went to MagFest for the first time, and seeing how crazy that was.
Now, what is MagFest? I'm not familiar.
MagFest is in Maryland, Washington D.C. area. Basically, think of PAX / the expos of that level, where it's just crazy and gaming and, tabletop games and all sorts of, retro nerdy gaming loveliness happens.
Cool.
That's what it was, for like 4 days straight. So I'm sort of using that as my point of reference for going to this show. And if this show can even approach that would be amazing. So
that's awesome.
That's going to be fantastic.
So let's rewind the clock back just a little bit, because I think it's a fun story. Let's talk about Pinburg 2014.
Mm-hmm.
You qualified pretty highly into the A division, right?
I think so. I think I
like seventh,
pretty
maybe.
high. Yeah, come on, seventh. Yeah,
and made it to the quarterfinals.
Right.
And you ended up. So, if for those listening that don't understand, in the quarterfinals, it's a 4-player group. 2 are going to advance, and you had a 3-way tie for second place.
Oh, okay, yeah, now I remember there. Was that the epic 3-way tie on Dracula? I think I'm hoping that's what it was.
It was yourself, Jason Wardrick, and Escher Lefkoff.
Oh yeah, that was don't like to lose, but that was a good game to lose. It's like, I mean, spoilers. I didn't advance, but the way I didn't advance was like amazing and fun and so close, and I was one shot away. Really,
you had it all lined up?
Yeah, because basically, what we all just destroyed the game. Escher had like his triple multi-ball going. And then I had come up, and all I needed was to get the triple, and I couldn't quite get it done, and that's what separated. Like, it was literally, he had 900 million. Second place had like 800 million.
767, yeah.
And I had 400 million, and all I needed was one shot for the triple multi-ball, and I win it. And I just couldn't get that one more shot. It was amazing. It was a great tiebreaker. I'll never forget that one.
Yeah, I thought that's what you might say on that one. And you were playing in third place too, so you were literally going last.
I was going last. Yeah, oh. I had the ball, and I'm just looking at it. I'm like, okay, give me the ball on the right flipper one time so I can make this shot. And when I got it, I think it was just a hair too late, where I started the multi-ball too late, or something happened where I wasn't quite in time. And so instead of getting the triple, I only had the single. And so that's basically, you have to build the house all over again at that point. And so it's not as good there. So
how did Dracula get chosen for the tiebreaker in that round?
I don't remember. I think that was it totally random? I actually honestly don't remember how it was chosen.
I'm just curious, because it wasn't in the bank you guys were playing on.
It might have been a totally random choice. I doubt they did it that way. Maybe it was on a random choice on another bank we did. I honestly don't remember.
Probably something like that.
Yeah, but it turned out to be a great game to choose, because that was epic. It's one of those matches I almost wish I was calling. Like, commentating on. That's one of those super Halo Championship Series type matches that you can really get excited about. And call against 3 top players on a great game like Dracula.
That is awesome. Have you looked at the lineup in the game banks for this year's Pinburg?
Yeah, I've peeped it out a little bit, and looked at this huge list of, what is this, 240, 60 times 4, 240 games of crazy that are all grouped together. You got your DMD, your EM, your early DMD, and your solid state. So, yeah, it's just basically, I guess I don't know which ones are going to gonna be in first, of course. I don't know my first groups yet. I don't think anyone does. But just looking at the groups, I mean, of course, they're gonna be from all over because they're gonna be Papa's games. So it's just got to be ready for anything. And if I could just get some lucky points on the EMs, and then that's what I'm gonna need.
What do you even do to prepare for something like this? Because I don't think you can really prepare for any specific game. It's more of just, I guess, the attrition of it all.
Yeah, really, just preparing mentally within yourself. You really can't practice for Pinburg. I mean, that would be amazing if you could do that, but just sort of, preparing to, just to stay calm while you're playing, and just to make sure to, remember what you've done to get there. Pay attention if you're going last. Pay attention to what everybody else is doing. Pay attention to the bounces and all the games, and just know that, I mean, with so many people, 1 point means so much more now. It always meant a lot during Pinburg. I mean, you win, one more win could advance you 5 or 6 places. Now you're talking about 700 people. So just mathematically, even if you can't win the game, get third if you can't get last. Get second if you can't get third. Just get that extra point, because it's going to matter so much, especially in this format.
Are you looking up rules on your phone as you go around?
Not particularly. I should do that more. I should do that more on the EM games. Although, really, when I step up to, I'm just looking for what lights the spinner.
Yeah,
I can shoot it and get the 1,000 and spin, because that's basically what I'm looking for, or basically what shot will help me to survive more, to give me game time. I just want game time. That's all. Because with the EMs, my problem is getting the ball. Just shooting the initial shot, and then getting the ball controlled so I can make that first decision. That's all I want. Just allow me to have the ball at least once, so that, if I shoot, miss, and drain, okay, fine. But, avoid the house balls, but they're going to happen.
I think of you in my head as a real, like a modern pinball player, I guess. And I guess the question would be, do you enjoy competing on the older games?
I do now. I mean, I'm a modern player who appreciates the older games, and now I enjoy it the more I play them. So, I have no problem competing on anything now, but I used to be modern dominated because that's all I played, because that's all was available to me, until I really started, getting to understand some of the older games and how much the physics are different, and how you have to switch up your play, and, learning to do alley passes on old games, because that's what you need to light and things like that. So, I've gotten better on EM games as I've progressed, but not as much. I mean, I still see any points that I get on certain EM games are going to be like bonus points to me. But if I'm stepping up to a game like Grand Prix, I want to win, because that's like my favorite EM game. So but there are other games where I'm going to have, not much of an idea, or, any games that have mini flippers. Oh boy.
Yeah. You live in the proximity of one of the best collections of EMs in the country, down at Silverball Museum.
Right, exactly.
Do you get down there and play those games?
Pretty often. I mean, not as often as I'd like, but I was down there recently for a tournament, where we got to run through a lot of the EM games, and it's always great to be there. They keep their games running very well, for considering how old they are, and especially since it's the summer season, it's the summer beach season, so everybody was down there, so those games are getting play. I mean, I know you had made comment that, sometimes that you go to Silverball and there's only like 3 or 4 people in there.
Yeah, in February.
But in July, oh boy.
Well, that's good. They're making their money.
That's great. Love to see that.
Love to hear that. That's excellent. Yeah, I avoid the Jersey Shore in the summer as much as I can for various different reasons. Mm-hmm. So what's up with Fun with Bonus right now? You're obviously one of the most consistent of those, working with the pinball medium on the internet. You're always getting something posted. I love that.
Posting pinball every day since July 1st, 2012.
That's great.
So it's like I'm trying to find something just to keep it active.
So I liked your post. It looks like it was a few days ago, where you were kind of talking about Whoa Nelly and the fact that they've got just this little tiny, mini DMD on the apron, and you sort of pointed out, wait a minute, how much could it possibly have cost them to put on, a real screen down there?
Right, there has to be a reason. Like I remember even listening to your podcast a few episodes back where you had basically explained, I think, part of why it would cost that much. That 6,000 for, I mean, that number just hits me in the face. So, $6,499 just smacks me across the face when I think of that game. I mean, and I know, what is it? Do I have an EM bias? Do I have a DMD bias and I expect the game that costs that much to have a DMD? Or, I mean, I know they were trying to keep the EM feel, but yet the game has music and like call outs. So, I mean, so they're walking that line, but then we have a postage stamp size screen, which you can't really see. So I mean, I figure, hey, why not have like the screens that they had on Airborne Avenger, where where you had those scores listed. They were a pretty large screen, but they were alphanumeric. Why not that? But I'd say that. I just think there had to have been a reason, and since I didn't know, I just figured, hey, let me ask, see if anybody reads this, and maybe will help me just work this out logically in my head. And the reason why it's called Well Nelly, Wait a Minute, is because I literally said out loud, "Whoa, wait a minute," when I saw that video. I'm like, what? This exists.
It's such an interesting project. And I think that there was never an intention to put any sort of screen until they wanted to make it a multiplayer game and realize, well, what are our solutions here? And I think it was more of a solution to another problem.
Right.
If you design that from the ground up, you probably don't use that tiny little display.
Right. Well, I figured, and that makes sense. But then I think back to, like, didn't they have the new version, the King of Diamonds, scroll through the scores too, just like Will Nelly did?
I think you're right. Yeah.
So I figured, okay, if they could still have done that and still not had the screen at all, but again, it's not about price, but I mean, I guess it is. It's just that number. Just the reason why it bothers me is because I want Stern to remake Sea Witch, and I don't want Sea Witch to cost $6,499 when it comes out, because I want to own it, in this future that I'm dreaming up, where they remake Sea Witch and they remake Cheetah and name any other good solid state Stern that I want. It's just like all of them.
Like
okay?
Iron Maiden.
Right. Whatever. I mean, and I don't want that precedent to be set that it's going to cost $6,000. So that's why that's the hidden reason why it bothers me, I guess.
Well, I mean, those are timely comments, because tonight on the show I'm definitely digging into some things that have been posted on the Pinside forums the last few days, talking about simpler pinball machines as a possibility to drag more people into the hobby, or to further pinball on as an earning machine for an operator. And a lot of people, when we say simplify pinball, they think, oh, make them like they used to be, the old games. And I think there's two separate routes to go there. I totally agree and wish they would throw out a classic Stern title. I think that'd be neat. I think it'd be cool. I do think it would probably cost $6,000, something like that. Unfortunately.
Well.
But I do like that idea. But I wonder what you think about the idea of, okay, and here's a great example. I own a Metallica game. I'm looking at the Metallica game. There's actually parts of this game that I don't understand. I mean, right. I know most of the rules, right, but there's a few things on there. The fuel dots, I'm not fully clear on how all of that works. I choose to, stay in my little bubble of ignorance. Do we need games that anybody, especially somebody who's not you or me, who really already cares about pinball, that anybody can kind of get a hold of quickly?
Well, Iron Man was remade. I mean, right there you go. I mean,
can you really get a hold of it?
Iron Man is one of the simpler rule sets out there, but it's awesome. I mean, right? I mean, you can choose to ramp out, or you can bash the huge toy in the middle, or you can shoot the spinners and do that. I mean,
are we still playing to us at that point, though? I'm wondering if, like, my little sister, who doesn't play pinball, could walk up to Iron Man and sort of grasp that.
Well, if you see a big, huge object come out of the center of the playfield,
that I agree. That
right?
I agree.
I mean, so there are lots of things there that look pretty obvious to shoot, and the game has nice, bright, pretty colors, and everything's clearly mapped out. And you see a new person roll up to Iron Man, is kind of, I mean, I guess the only thing that wouldn't be obvious is shooting the spinners to raise the monger.
But it does tell you that. It tells you that.
It tells you to do that, but it sort of happens anyway. If you plunge the ball, it sort of goes through a spinner and it does something, and then you shoot a spinner and it does something else, and eventually the monger shows up and says, "Oh, I want to bash this." So bash it, and then something awesome will happen, and then it does. And now you like Iron Man because now you have multi-ball. Now, yes, the game is a butt kicker, but I mean, sure, have it kick your butt and put in another $1. That's kind of what we need the games to do sometimes too.
I agree, and I think that gets lost on people sometimes. I think it's a weird situation because those of us that are talking about this stuff the most are already so deep into it. I don't know if we can ever really, fully grasp the newbie mindset again.
Well, can we bridge that gap to get the new players in? Yeah, it's really, you're right. I mean, I lose that empathy for the new player because I'm not the new player. So I try to have as much empathy as I can when I'm guiding new players that, just do it step by step. Don't introduce them to the whole thing at once, because it's like if you try to explain AC/DC to somebody, it's like explaining War and Peace.
Yeah, you're going to put them to sleep.
But if you just say, shoot the ramps, and if you shoot enough of them, something awesome is going to happen, and then they'll do that. So just most games can be broken down, at least most good rule sets can be broken down that way, and then you could just guide them in that way on a simple path, and then all of a sudden they'll get to a certain point where they can just say, okay, now you're free. Go do what you want. So go do what you want and find cool stuff. But when you get confused, go back to this basic thing that we just did. Like if you get confused on AC/DC, shoot the ramps, because they're there and they're nice big targets for a reason. Those ramps are nice big targets to hit. The entrances are so huge, you're probably going to hit them. But they're just dangerous enough where if you screw up, you're in trouble. It's really great design there. That's one of the reasons why AC/DC is loved by nearly everyone.
Yeah. Have you gotten any time on KISS?
A very little bit of time at Modern Pinball. I've visited there and gotten some time on it and learned not much about it. I mean, I basically I was there with a couple of people. I was there with Sean Grant. He was there. He showed me some things on how to play it, and so I learned a little bit from him on how to light the instruments and what that means, and what certain things do. And since that was a new game, it was nice to have a new game experience again.
Yeah,
it's nice to have that because, I mean, it's strange with me. I mean, some people have color blindness. I think I have like a playfield blindness somewhere, where if it's a new game, I don't know where stuff is, and so I sometimes can't see it. Like, just an example, on KISS, there are inserts that tell you which instruments are lit, like which instruments you should get, and I never saw them until it was pointed out to me. Like, I didn't even see the insert until it was pointed out. It's really weird, and it just the art just looks like a mess to me. Not like the art's bad, it just is not something I pay attention to. It's not the art that I myself pay attention to, it's the gameplay. So it just looks like a big old mess. Like, just another example, this will seem weird coming out of left field, just thought of this on The Simpsons by Stern.
Oh yeah,
I did not know how to light the mystery, like the garage, for like about a year, until I looked up at the upper playfield, and real small it says "Lights Mystery" up by the target. I'm like, oh, that's why it makes that sound sometimes when I hit that. I never saw that. So it's just strange that sometimes I get totally blinded by the art, because it just looks like a whole bunch of stuff to me.
Well, sometimes it is.
Yeah. But, like with KISS, it was good to have that new game experience and to see, okay, I'm not even going to look at the rule card. Just going to go in and check it out and see, how it plays. And, I'm liking it so far. Definitely. It's definitely got a good foundation, so I can't wait to see what else they do with it.
Did you, I don't think we've spoken much since WWE came out. Did you get any, you must have played WWE a few times since then.
Yep, got time at WWE with Modern Pinball. Yes, sir.
How is that progressing?
I don't know. I think I don't know. I see WWE over there, and then like 30 feet away is World Poker Tour, and that's a much better game with an upper play field.
Yep.
So I mean, WWE. Yes, I can force myself to have fun with it.
It's pinball. Of course you can.
It's pinball, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, it stays in the ring for too long, and I mean, you can once you master the ring, that's pretty cool. If don't always flip it when it's right on the rubber, flip it when it's right above, so it lobs right into the hole, and you get your huge points. But it's just a lot of go in the ring, face the wrestler, go below, shoot the targets, go in the ring, face the wrestler, go below and shoot the targets. So. I don't know, man. I'll give it another shot in a couple of weeks when I go back to modern pinball, and but again, it's not like I hate playing it. I just don't love it. So it's one of those middling games where hey, you can't like everything. So
that's true.
I still don't love The Walking Dead yet. So it's like that. It's a game that I really want to like, but I just don't love it yet. So
gearing up here for Pinburg. Tell me the difference when your excitement for the tournament coming for Pinburg compared to say Papa.
Can I compare it? I don't know. It's like with this Pinburg, it's totally different because you have the tournament, and then you have everything else. So this one doesn't compare to any other event. I mean, with this one, you have the competition, but if you're eliminated, you can do a whole host of other stuff. Whereas with Papa, it's grind, qualify, and then hopefully you get that magical set. With Pinburg, it's casual. You're playing, you're winning, you're losing, you're talking, you're meeting people. Those people who see me, I'm that fun with bonus guy. Feel free to talk to me and talk about whatever you like, But yeah, it's gonna be cool to meet all these new people and re-meet the family that I see every half year at the pinball family, So I mean, they're in that way they're totally different events, but this one's gonna be completely different. I have nothing to compare it to because like I said, the only reference I have is MagFest. Where I went there was ridiculous. And so then this is appearing to look like that. So that's going to be fantastic.
That's awesome. What's your rest of your schedule looking like?
As far as like tournament schedule?
Yeah, where else are you going to play this year?
I do not know, honestly. there are a few places I'm looking to go. I know I'm going to get to go to Expo. I missed it last year. That can't happen anymore. I know I'm going to Expo. And then at that point, I'll be able to start picking up the circuit again, I believe. So I might be able to follow it. I don't think I'll be able to get to West Coast Northwest. That's a huge tournament that I don't like missing, but I might not get there. But yeah, I'm kind of playing it by ear. I'm hanging around the East Coast, I guess. Mainly. But I can't wait to get to the point where I can chase the circuit again. When I can really chase the circuit and chase those dollars and chase those points and chase the competition again. But it's really great to have all these new events in the circuit and even sitting here at home and seeing the competitions being broadcast on on the stream and everything, and everybody does such a great job on that. And it's fantastic even watching it, and of course, I'm watching Twitch for that. Then I all of a sudden start watching Twitch for other things, like I mentioned the Halo finals and seeing how they do it and comparing it, to how Papa does it, and it's like, hey, this is a pretty good job, and this tournament was watched by like 35,000 people at a time, and
amazing.
And Papa's doing a pretty good job, and not only Papa, but people like Carl D'Angelo and doing an awesome job. And
it's the early days. I think that the people doing it now are amazing for being the first ones to get up and do it, and I think they're going to get better and it's going to progress. It's good stuff. Definitely. And just looking at the circuit, I noticed that MagFest that you're just talking about, is happening in February 2016 in DC.
Yes, it is.
And it's a Papa circuit tournament.
Absolutely. Yeah. As soon soon as we got there, we were like, oh yeah, this has got to be a Papa Circuit event somehow.
Nice.
This has to be. So, Kevin Stone, thank you. Kevin Stone's going to run that event. And so, yeah, here we go. I'm definitely going to that. That's no excuse to miss that.
Awesome. Well, I'm gonna stick that on my calendar today.
Yes, please do. It's going to be ridiculous. It was ridiculous. It was ridiculous last year. And the tournament we had was just like, it was a standard, Herb style, tournament, which was fantastic. And then around that event, there was everything else. So the concerts and the tabletop games and the arcade and the parties and the club music and, so yeah, that's going to be great.
Very
too.
cool. Well,
Yep.
Steve, I'm going to see you in like 2 days or something like that.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
Cool.
I can't wait to be there, and maybe I can be a roving reporter. I don't know.
No,
Just
we're
thinking out
gonna,
loud.
dude. We're gonna do it. I am committed to getting some from the floor audio of Pinburg this year. It's gonna be a good time, and hopefully you qualify in A, I qualify in Q or whatever division I'm looking at.
Are you restricted at all?
No, am I restricted?
Yeah.
The number 1,727th player in the world is currently not restricted.
Okay, so that means you could qualify in any division you like. So who knows?
Who knows what could happen?
You catch a few 12-0s, few 12-0 victories,
Man, I just want to not. I just don't want to lose them all. That's what I want.
Right? Hey, but if you get on a good run, all of a sudden they start saying your name on the loudspeaker. Guess who had 12-0 this round?
I got 2 days to dream about it. That's for sure.
All right.
Awesome, Steve. Well, thanks for coming back on the show, man. We'll see you in a few days.
All right. Thank you for having me.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that has been episode 180 of Coast to Coast Pinball. What's going on, Teresa?
Nothing. I'm interrupting you again.
That's okay. I invited you to interrupt me this time.
That's true.
It's sort of like getting in bed with Teresa.
But
We're not near. It's about bedtime.
Office.
Yeah, more like getting in my office. How was your trip to Alaska?
It was so awesome. Are you going to post any videos?
This is not Coast to Coast video posting of Alaska, Teresa. This is serious pinball talk here.
It was great.
You enjoyed
I loved
it?
The glaciers and the zip lining.
And the pinball.
We didn't ever find
I know. I told them
pinball.
already. I just thought you might want to say hello to everybody.
Hello, everyone.
Yeah, you
Better
doing
take
all right?
care of my Nate this weekend. I don't know if he's told anyone, but it is his birthday.
It is my birthday.
On July 31st. I will not be there to pamper him and give him treats. So everyone who sees him has to hug him and say happy birthday.
I beg of you, friendly listeners, you're mostly, for the most part, smelly, gross, and male. You don't need to hug me, and I don't need your treats.
Yes, hugs and treats for Nate on his birthday.
We can do fist bumps.
Okay, and treats. He likes anything made out of jelly, like jelly bears. What are they called? Gummy bears, gummy rings. He likes peanut butter and chocolate together.
That's you.
You like it too.
Not as much as you.
He likes
She's justifying what she
carrot
buys me.
cake.
Say goodnight, Teresa.
Good night.
All right, guys. We'll talk to you again very soon. Take care of yourselves.